Seems like a humble brag, like, "Oh, look at that. We just built something so super powered and, capable. Whoops, like, didn't realize we were such geniuses." But, there is, like, some danger here. OpenAI, this is actually pretty interesting news. Like, Sasha, I don't know if you've been feeling this overarching movement or the pendulum swinging in AI, but it feels like Anthropic is falling off a little bit and OpenAI is making a comeback. And we can dive into why a little bit later. But OpenAI made an interesting move to make ChatGPT text chats unlimited for free users. OpenAI is removing one of their biggest restrictions on free ChatGPT accounts, and text chats are now becoming unlimited. Free users are also getting GPT 5.6 Luna as their default model, which is especially incredible since that's their latest frontier model. I think it's not their top one, but it's pretty damn close. For harder questions, OpenAI is adding a separate think button that gives free users access to more reasoning. Unlimited applies specifically to normal text chats and remains subject to abuse safeguards. Images, file uploads, and other expensive tools will save. They will still have their own usage limits, but still pretty impressive offering nonetheless. This substantially changes their free product. The basic chatbot itself is increasingly becoming something OpenAI is willing to give away without any message cap, which puts even more pressure on competitors trying to charge consumers simply for access to an AI assistant like Claude, which has become very usage intensive and expensive recently, which is part of why I think that pendulum's swinging. But yeah, what do you think about this move, Sasha? Like, what does this say about compute or trying to build a market moat or get more competitive again?
Well, I think it's an interesting move. I mean, it's a class of marketing move. We're talking about, the user onboarding journey and the funnel. Um, they them making chats free is obviously going to get a lot of attention from people that run into issues with, for example, they go and they ask Claude some question. There were some memes in the past few months about like if you go into Claude and you just go in like the ask or chat mode and you say hello, how are you? That uses up like 25% of your usage for that session. And so this is like a complete slap in the face to Claude on the Chat GPT side. But they need to rely on this free chat feature converting into paid users. And so they're going to do their best to try and in what we've seen in the past, like shamelessly try and funnel people like, oh, that's a great question. If you like, I could do this, but you're gonna have to pay for the premium plan because it uses this type of model or it uses that type of image gen or whatever. Let me know below, and you could subscribe very quickly. That's exactly what they're gonna have to do because we know reports over the past year that OpenAI is still, I believe, not profitable right now. They are losing money hand over fist every month, and we've seen a report more recently in the past couple months saying that they hit like $2 billion in revenue, but they are operating at a loss of like $19 billion, and that was every month. So they're going to have to rely on this to convert people outside of Claude, but it might do a good. It might have a good chance because we've been seeing some incredible capabilities come out of their latest models, and then Codex has been catching up. I've been speaking with a lot of people that use these AI tools for development. They also use them for vibe coding and whatever. And they've been talking about how Codex is an incredible product now. And the funny thing is, I've been talking about how these models and these companies have been commoditizing themselves. I've used Codex recently for a number of things, and it's essentially the same exact product as Claude Cowork, right? And so it seems like all of them are releasing the same features in the same way we saw like Apple and Samsung UI morph into the same thing. And we're going to continue to see that, but it's going to be an economics game in the long run, I think.
Yeah, and do you think this is a reaction to the open weighted model threat? Like a lot of these guys are going to have to fine tune and change, pivot in their economics because I see they're going to get less competitive if they don't react somehow to these Chinese firms or thinking machines or Meta even.
I think that's a really good point, actually, and something that I didn't think of before. But yeah, this might be a move to try and combat that. Whereas Anthropic is trying to work more closely with the government and say, "Hey, guys, like, please don't allow people to use these open source AI models out of China because it's bad for us." Like, it's a very strange thing to go to Congress and ask for legislation because you personally are under threat as a private business. It's not even publicly traded yet. So I think that is a very, very good point. But again, they're going to have to fight an uphill battle because we've been seeing so much progress on the open source models coming out of China at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to just pretend it's a security issue only, but it's obviously, like you said, a threat to their bottom line.
Absolutely. Up next, we've got some more stories coming out of the OpenAI camp. Apparently, OpenAI has slowed work on its unreleased Astra model after internal testing suggested it may have reached a critical cybersecurity capability threshold. The concern, they say, is that Astra may be capable of autonomously finding and exploiting previously unknown software vulnerabilities. At the highest end, OpenAI believes models in this category could potentially execute sophisticated cyber attacks with only high level human instructions. So, for example, any sort of, let's say, normie going in using OpenAI and say, can you hack this website? OpenAI is now pausing Astra related work that does not meet stricter new security requirements. The company is also increasing what they claim isolation, monitoring, and security around the testing. Astra itself was not responsible for the recent Hugging Face breach that we talked about in the past week or so, but the incident clearly adds some uncomfortable context. It's one of the clearest examples yet of an AI company saying that the model has become powerful enough that its own security infrastructure needs to catch up. And this is very important in the context of OpenAI has been in active discussions along with Anthropic and Google with the government around creating sort of a safety net around AI development. The government had these sort of closed door voluntary sessions in which they invited these companies to talk about how we can try and create more AI safety around these models and prevent things like this from happening. So it does make sense that OpenAI needs to kind of like get in front of what's happening. And if
Hmm.
they're seeing these concerns around their Astra model, then they've got to meet that before it goes to market, and they end up in some massive controversy.
Yeah, you said it well. And the optimistic interpretation here is that the safeguards did indeed work, like they stopped something catastrophic from happening. But the more pessimistic interpretation is that we rely on these companies building the thing to decide when that thing is too powerful. So that's a little bit sketchy. And I think that's what that summit in Washington for these three companies you mentioned was about, like them setting their own safeguards so the government wouldn't intervene. And I don't know if that gambit's going to work or not, but it is somewhat compelling, saying like we'll make sure stuff doesn't happen, so you don't have to police us or micromanage us. But I don't know if I trust it. At the same time, we've talked about this. Like this seems like kind of like a marketing thing. Like I don't know if these things are real or not. This is just the official propaganda coming from these companies. But a frontier lab is effectively saying we may have built capability faster than we built containment,
Mm.
which seems like a humble brag. Like, oh, look at that, we just built something so super powered and capable. Whoops, like didn't realize we were such geniuses. But there is like some danger here. So I think it's interesting that cybersecurity may be one of the first areas where advanced agents are like truly superhuman. They're much better at us. But I don't know like what's going to grow faster, like their offensive capabilities or defensive capabilities, and if that matters, because they're going to continue to create new tricks and then create workarounds for those tricks and create defenses for those tricks. Eventually, we're going to be like completely removed from the equation, and we're going to be like, let your bots do your thing. I'm just going to trust that our bots are okay. They're good enough at protecting my website or my infrastructure. So just like we were talking about with the drones before, protecting data centers, this is like the cyber version of that, I suppose.
Yeah, we're moving fast into AI on AI crime. So, no surprise there.
Hey, it's your friend Mello from Arcanum Ventures. If you got any value out of this video whatsoever, we want to hear about it. Leave us a comment in the comment section. We look forward each and every week to reading those, and maybe give us a subscribe too, because we put out new content all the time, 4 or 5 videos a week. So maybe check one out now. Take it easy.